Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the backstory. If you're new here, kindly hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified when we post a new video. Now ladies and gentlemen, this is 2024, this is January 2024, and we are like 3 years to the next general election. But in Kenya, campaigns do start 2 years into the next general election. So it is expected that by late 2025, Kenyans will start campaigning. But in Mt.Kenya, the fight for the political kingship or kingpin position has started way earlier than it is expected. And the guy who is leading this campaign is the senior most person in the government right now, who is Rigathi Gachagua. And he feels that the former president Uhuru Kenyatta is the stumbling block to his rise to the kingpin position of central Kenya. That story has been captured in the Standard newspaper. It was in the headlines where they've written Uhuru versus Gachagua. And that story is on in page 7, where they're talking about, they've written here that Uhuru's new push in Mt.Kenya threatens DP Gachagua's gains. And they've also written here that the strategy that Deputy President must put best foot forward to stop former president's re-emergence in the region. So it means the former president is coming back into the political scene. So by law, President Uhuru Kenyatta is not supposed to be actively involved in politics. That is by law. But there are people who feel that people like Rigathi Gachagua, Kimani Ichung'wah, and Ndoro feel that President Uhuru's shadow is lurking behind the scenes. And this is stopping them from ascending to the kingpin position. Of late, you've had a lot of attacks from Ndoro, Kimani Ichung'wah, and other MPs who are within that cycle. I want you to listen in.
Now, Rais yule alitoka wa Kenya, our former president. Wacha nikuulize kwa heshima, wewe umekuwa ukihadaa wa Kenya, unatoa pesa ya maandamano. Katika zile maneno yote ya makoti, you've been sponsoring even the court cases to derail the plan of our president and this government. Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, tafadhali, Wakenya walikupea miaka 10. Ile kitu unafaa unafanya ukiamuka asubuhi ni kushukuru Wakenya. Wacha maneno ya kila siku unapanga maneno ya kufuruga serikali. Because we know clearly you are the one behind all these shenanigans. You are the one who have been funding them. Na pia nikueleze, wewe ukiwa rais, you sabotaged the housing project of your own government for selfish reasons. You are developing a city called Northlands in Kiambu County. Na hiyo city yako ndio ilifanya ufuruge mpango ya housing project when you are president, so that uweke your interest and the interest of your businesses ahead of the Kenyan interests. Na pia wewe president mustaafu Uhuru Kenyatta, ulitumia kampuni ya China inaitwa CRBC, wakajega barabara huko kwako kwa city wakitumia pesa ya serikali. Ukienda pale Mwihoko, unaona barabara imekata katika saba yako, imejengwa private road built by public resources. Na hawa wenyewe wakakujegea houses, thousands of houses already there in your land. Wewe fanya biashara yako na uache kusponsor makesi ya kuharibu maneno ambayo inapea hawa wanayuthi wa Kenya kazi. Na wewe umekuwa ukisponsor watu wafanye press conference ati yo saba hakuna ya kujenga housing projects. If you are generous enough, if you are well meaning, all the land that you have is stolen. You grabbed the land. Wewe saba yenu yote hakuna receipt mnaweza tuonyesha mlinunua pahali. Kwa hivyo kama unaona ile saba tunajenga housing project ni kidogo, kata ile uko nayo kapea hawa wa Kenya, hata kama ni mtu eka 5 na bado utaachwa na eka zako za kulisha ng'ondu na ng'ombe yako. Lakini uache kuhadaa wa Kenya, na hatukuogopi bana. You must stop sabotaging the government agenda. Be selfless. Kenyans gave you the best prize that any civilian can be given. You should be grateful to Kenyans, sio kusabotage mipango ambayo inawapea makazi.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, those are members of parliament from Central Kenya attacking the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. And their accusation, their main accusation is that the former president is sabotaging their government. Now, in Kenya Kwanza, in Central Kenya, there are 4 people, according to me, there are 4 people who want to go for the kingpin position, or who have political ambition to take over from the former president. The former president has been and remains the kingpin. But there are 4 people who have emerged who want to take over the kingpin position. One of them is the senior most person right now from Central Kenya in Kenya Kwanza administration, who is Rigathi Gachagua. Then the second person is Ndoro. Ndoro has political ambitions. He wants to take over the kingpin position. Then number 3 is Kimani Chungwa. Number 4 is Njenga Karume. Not Njenga Karume, Maina Njenga. So among all these people, Rigathi is the senior most person. But Rigathi would have taken that position without a lot of pressure. But there are 3 things that are hindering Rigathi's ascent into the kingpin position. One is the fact that is the incumbency. Incumbency in a way that the Kenyan Kwanza administration has flaws, and some of their failures are hindering Rigathi Gachagua from taking up that position. Because they promised a lot during campaigns, but they have failed to deliver some of the promises. Like right now, the high cost of living and the high cost of doing business in Kenya is driving guys away from the Kenya Kwanza administration. So however much Rigathi Gachagua would want to adhere himself to the people of Central, that is one thing that is drawing people away from him and his cycle. And then the cost of cash crops like coffee, tea, macadamia, all that. Guys have been raising these issues and they have not been sorted out. Remember, when William Ruto came into power, he gave that role to the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, so as to sort out the issues to do with coffee, the issues to do with tea, milk, and macadamia. But those issues have not been sorted out up to now. So that is one stumbling block, the incumbency. The second stumbling block to Rigathi is the fact that he is a deputy president. So the second stumbling block is the president himself, who is William Ruto. Rigathi cannot be seen to outshine his master, who is William Ruto. Remember, during campaigns, William Ruto believed and still believes that he is the kingpin of Mt.Kenya. So he would want a situation whereby he remains the kingpin of Mt.Kenya up to past 2027, up to 2032. So Rigathi, however much is trying to consolidate Mt.Kenya, but he can only do it in a subtle way, such that he's not seen to be trying to outshine his master, who is William Ruto. Remember, the same issue of outshining your master brought a lot of problems in the last administration, that is between former President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy, who was William Ruto. William Ruto tried to outshine his master, and that is what brought a conflict between the two of them. So Rigathi is trying to be very cautious not to outshine his master. Then the third issue is the fact that Rigathi does not have like political links within central Kenya. He doesn't have like political friends. He comes out as an antagonist more than someone who brings people together. So that is one thing that he needs to work on. Try to endear himself to the political leaders within central Kenya, bring them close. So that is the third issue that is acting as a stumbling block to his rise to the kingpin's position. Then the fourth one is the fact that is their relationship with the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta has been the kingpin of central Kenya. But they fell out with his former friend, Rigathi Gachagua, but they've not reconciled up to now. I believe that the former president has not forgiven Rigathi Gachagua, and for Rigathi Gachagua to rise to that position, he needs to be forgiven. He needs to reconcile with his former friend. Because one thing that you need to know is that former President Uhuru Kenyatta has the financial muscle to rejig the politics within central Kenya. Because one, politics needs a lot of money. For you to succeed in politics, you need a lot of money. You need financial war chest. And that is what the former president has, Uhuru Kenyatta has. He has financial war chest. He can sponsor guys to vie on his party within central Kenya and succeed. Then the former president can also take advantage of the fact that Kenya Kwanza administration has failed to deliver in some of the promises that they made to Kenyans, and more specifically guys from central Kenya. So if he takes advantage of that, because it has been played all along that the former president warned people from central Kenya about the capability of Uhuru and Rigathi to transform the economy of central Kenya. So I believe that when that time comes, the former president will come out and tell them, hey, you guys, I told you, but you did not listen. So he might show that region direction come 2027 or past 2027. So he is also a stumbling block to Rigathi's rise to the kingpin position in central Kenya. Then let's look at someone, let's look at Ndoro. Ndoro, according to me, is positioning himself to take over from Uhuru Kenyatta. He wants to be the kingpin of central Kenya. How is he fashioning himself? Look at the way he's doing his politics. His politics is more centered towards selling himself as someone who is development conscious, like an alternative leader to Rigathi Gachagua. He's not selling himself as someone who is controversial, but someone who can speak up issues that are affecting central Kenya. But his only weak point is the fact that instead of addressing the issues, he is attacking the former president. The issue of attacking the former president solved pre-last general election. I don't think if it's going to sell heading to 2027. So whoever is thinking that blaming the former president on the issues that are affecting Kenyans right now is still going to sell even heading to 2027 is wrong. Because look at what Ndoro has been doing. Just the other day, he had like some members of parliament going to his constituency to kind of benchmark on the kind of development that he's doing in his constituency. What does that tell you? He's packaging himself in a way that he's trying to tell people that I am the alternative. I am development conscious. This is what I've done in my constituency. If you elect me, then I can replicate what I'm doing in my constituency in the whole of this region. So he's someone who also has political ambitions. And if you look at his politics, he's not been aligning himself to the Rigathi faction. You've never seen him attending some of Rigathi Gachagua's political functions. He's been doing his own things. Then secondly, Rigathi Gachagua, there is Kimani Ichung'wah. Kimani Ichung'wah also has political ambitions, but he is dependent on President Ruto. He thinks that if he supports the president, then at that opportune time, the president will hold his hand and say that, hey guy, you supported me and I'm going to support you to become the Central Kenya kingpin. But our discussion was revolving around Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua and Uhuru Kenyatta were buddies. It is said they were very good friends. Rigathi was Uhuru's personal assistant. But the betrayal that happened leading to 2027 has made the former president to try as much as possible to avoid Rigathi Gachagua. So Uhuru Kenyatta still remains the kingpin, but not only in Central Kenya. You know, one thing that you guys need to know is that once someone has become a president, he has those political links, maybe with other parties, not only in Central Kenya, but other regions. So whoever will become the kingpin of Central Kenya will also need to link up with guys from other regions. Because in Kenya right now, not a single person can win the presidency with votes from his or her region. You will have to link up, you will have to connect with leaders from other regions. But that is one thing that these other leaders from Central Kenya do not have. Who has them? It is the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta still has links with Raila, he has links with Wamalwa, he has links with Joho, he has links with... So if he awakens his political links within Kenya, whoever he will endorse will make it to the kingship. Then the third one is the fact that Rigathi Gachagua, Ndoro, and Kimani Ichung'wah do not have their own political parties. Who has a political party right now? It is Uhuru Kenyatta. And it also still comes back to the financial muscle that someone has. You know, for you to run a political party effectively, you need money. Do these three people have money that can be used to run a political party? No. Then Uhuru Kenyatta still has links with the former Mt.Kenya business community. Those guys, I think they're still endeared, they're still friends. So if he wakes up right now and says so and so is going to be supported within Mt.Kenya, then that person will be. And the other person that I've left out is Maina Njenga. Maina Njenga is looking at the happenings in Central Kenya right now, like the taxation, the high cost of living, guys not getting revenue for their cash crops, like getting that minimum returns which they were promised. So Maina Njenga is looking at this and looking at the elected leaders in Central right now. These are the guys who should have woken up and spoken about some of the things that are happening, but they are mum. So Maina Njenga is coming up with like an alternative voice to the elected leaders. I know he's been branded like the head of Mungiki, is trying to revive Mungiki, but I don't think he's trying to revive Mungiki. What he's trying to say, I think he has connections with the guys on the ground, the boys on the ground, and the words that are coming from the ground maybe are reaching him. So what he's trying to do is to come up with an alternative voice to the elected leaders, because the elected leaders have not been raising these issues that are affecting the common man, because one, there is that fear factor that they are members of UDA, and UDA is the party which is governing. So whoever raises issues that are affecting UDA would be going against the wishes of the party. So they would rather remain mum than raise these issues. So that is where now Maina Njenga comes in, as providing an alternative voice. I don't know if that will raise him to the political kingpin position, looking at the past the past happenings around this group that he has been associated with, even though he's stated in the media that he left that group, the Mungiki group, he left it some years back. He's like an ex-leader. But the fact, whatever happened then, still raises a lot of issues on his rise to the kingpin position. So, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, will the two former friends, that is the former President Uhuru Kenyatta and the current Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who will blink first? Will they reconcile? And if they reconcile, if they don't reconcile, who will Uhuru Kenyatta endorse or support to become the kingpin of Mt.Kenya? If you have any feedback, or you can also send us, you can comment on the video down below and tell us what you think. If you're from Central Kenya, if you're from any other region in Kenya, and you have views and feedback that you want to give us, your thoughts on this podcast, then you can write to us on the video down below so that we can take this conversation up later. That is all from me, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new here, you can hit the subscribe button and notification bell down below so that you can be notified when we post a new video. Until next time, guys, goodbye.